Seeing Xue Zhongzi about to strike Yun Weishan with an ice shard, Gong Ziyu rushed forward to stop him, declaring that Yun Weishan was his green jade attendant. Xue Zhongzi knew that Jin Fan was supposed to be his attendant, but Gong Ziyu said that, as sword wielder, he had the right to choose. Xue Zhongzi demanded she show the jade ring. Gong Ziyu tried to cover for her, but Yun Weishan took it out. It turned out to be the important item Jin Fan had mentioned, the green jade attendant's jade ring. Seeing the jade ring, Xue Zhongzi put down his weapon. Young Master Xue proposed arranging a residence for Yun Weishan, but Gong Ziyu said she should stay with him since she was his betrothed, and the marriage had only been delayed due to mourning. Back at his place, Yun Weishan told Gong Ziyu about her journey into the back mountain. Seeing her deep concern for him, Gong Ziyu felt warmed. He personally prepared porridge for her. Watching this scene stirred Yun Weishan's heart. Her sister had once asked about her wishes. Yun Weishan said she just wanted a simple life, someone to cook for her, to live quietly away from the world. Perhaps this was what she had longed for. Gong Ziyu wanted to grow closer to Yun Weishan and suggested calling her Yun from now on. Yun Weishan felt it sounded like a kitten's name, but Gong Ziyu said he liked it. When he asked if the herbal porridge was bitter, Yun Weishan shook her head. Gong Ziyu promised she would never suffer again and that he would always protect her. His words touched Yun Weishan's heart, and tears rolled down her cheeks as she sipped the porridge, her feelings for him quietly changing. Elder Yu was assassinated. The assassin left taunting words written in blood, claiming the act was done by an anonymous Wu Feng assassin. Numerous sky lanterns were released again in the Gong family. Gong Shangjue sensed trouble. Gong Ziyu also received the news. As sword wielder, he was supposed to protect his family. If they were gone, the trial meant nothing. If he couldn't protect them, he was unworthy of the role. Xue Zhongzi admired Gong Ziyu's loyalty and hoped he would become as outstanding as his father. Yun Weishan watched Gong Ziyu leave, deep in thought. Elder Yu's body was covered with a white cloth and placed in the council hall. When Gong Ziyu arrived, he stated that Wu Feng assassins were still hiding within the Gong family. Given such a major incident, he questioned what the guards had been doing. Gong Yuanzheng gave an ambiguous reply, saying Elder Yu had deliberately sent away his guards, including his personal attendant, likely to meet someone important. By the time people noticed the strong scent of blood, Elder Yu was already dead. Yun Weishan returned to the Yu lineage and unexpectedly found Shang Wanqian in her room. Yun Weishan was puzzled by Wu Feng's frequent recent actions, fearing they'd be suspected again. Shang Wanqian believed the current incident wouldn't target them, as it likely signaled internal strife in the Gong family. She was right. Gong Shangjue and Gong Yuanzheng pointed the blame toward Gong Ziyu. Yun Weishan's half-moon fly poison began acting up. Shang Wanqian gave her a prepared suppressant, and Yun Weishan suggested adding Jinshin root for better effect. Gong Shangjue proposed taking over the investigation of Wu Feng's assassins. Gong Ziyu argued that this was the Yu lineage's duty. Gong Shangjue then brought up the trial, saying if Gong Ziyu ended it midway, it would count as failure. Elder Xue stood up to defend Gong Ziyu, saying his actions were out of deep emotion and deserving of an exception. Gong Shangjue disagreed, claiming if they could break the rules for Gong Ziyu, then they could break them for anything. As Gong Ziyu insisted on continuing the trial, Gong Shangjue offered to manage all affairs of the Gong family and vowed to identify the assassin within 10 days. If Gong Ziyu hadn't passed the first trial by then, a new sword wielder would be chosen. The two elders protested, saying such a rule never existed, but Gong Shangjue threatened to leave the Gong family if they didn't comply. Gong Yuanzheng backed him up. At the height of the standoff, young Master Yu suddenly appeared. According to Gong family rules, after Elder Yu's death, his clan would appoint a successor. Gong Yuanzheng questioned young Master Yu's age and legitimacy, but Gong Shangjue reminded him to show proper respect. Just then, Ming Wuji entered and declared she was willing to reveal Gong Ziyu's background and provide both physical and eyewitness evidence. Gong Shangjue was surprised and asked why she changed her mind. Ming Wuji said she wanted a free life. Shang Wanqian came to help Gong Shangjue grind ink and secretly added bay laurel essential oil. Gong Shangjue saw through her little trick. The laurel's flower language symbolizes victory. Shang Wanqian wanted to win him over this way, just like how she planted azaleas earlier. The azalea's flower language means, I will always belong to you. Gong Ziyu used ice to adapt his body to the cold, trying to complete the trial quickly. Despite the biting chill, he forced himself to endure, thinking of Gong Shangjue's relentless pressure. Yun Weishan and Shang Wanqian both suffered from their internal poisons. Each tried to suppress the half-moonfly's toxin in their own way. Shang Wanqian restrained herself from circulating her internal energy, while Yun Weishan recalled what Han Yasi had once told her and suddenly thought of a solution. Gong Ziyu attempted to experience the cold pool and entered an ice bucket for the trial, but ended up passing out from the cold. Fortunately, Yun Weishan arrived just in time to rescue him, otherwise his life would have been in danger. After waking up, Gong Ziyu learned that Yun Weishan had saved him. He suspected that Yun Weishan might have seen the secret script tattooed on his back. Yun Weishan said she only saw his chest, and since they were husband and wife, it was no big deal. Yun Weishan was focused on helping Gong Ziyu pass the trial. She thought that a top-tier martial arts technique might help him overcome the first stage, which Jin Fan had mentioned was a test of inner power. Gong Ziyu said he had been practicing the melting snow mind technique since he was young because he had always feared the cold. However, his cultivation of the technique was lacking. He recalled how his father forced him to train in freezing conditions, which he now realized was for his own good. Upon hearing this, Yun Weishan remembered her own life in Wufeng. She compared Han Yasi to her mother and shared her feelings with Gong Ziyu. She said that though parents show love in different ways, that love cannot be hidden. Gong Ziyu was moved and came to understand his father's intentions. Yun Weishan suddenly came up with a way to rapidly boost Gong Ziyu's inner power, using the extreme cold poison to fight poison with poison. Gong Ziyu trusted Yun Weishan completely, but obtaining the extreme cold poison was difficult since all poisons in the Gong family were managed by Gong Yuanzheng. Yun Weishan claimed that she had learned how to concoct the poison from Zhuo Mei and wanted to give it a try. In truth, Yun Weishan also had a personal motive. She hoped to obtain Jinshan root to suppress the poison within her. Concerned that the Gong family's hidden guards might harm Yun Weishan, Gong Ziyu gave her a security map of the guards' posts so she could avoid them. Yun Weishan was surprised by his trust. She took a lantern and headed to the medical hall, but was stopped by a hidden guard along the way, claiming she was fetching a calming remedy for Gong Ziyu. The guard let her through but urged her to return quickly. At the medical hall, Yun Weishan found the necessary herbs and also grabbed some to suppress her own internal poison before starting the preparation. Coincidentally, Gong Yuanzheng was also at the medical hall looking for Gong Ziyu's birth medical records. He discovered that the records were inaccurate. At that moment, he smelled someone concocting medicine and went to investigate. Gong Yuanzheng held a blade to Yun Weishan and demanded to know the purpose of the poison she was preparing. Yun Weishan insisted she was making a calming remedy for Gong Ziyu. Gong Yuanzheng tried to trick her using the same parasite he once used to test Shang Wanqian, but Yun Weishan saw through the ruse. Gong Yuanzheng then made her drink the poison she had just made. Yun Weishan did not hesitate and drank it. Luckily, it could also suppress the poison within her. Gong Yuanzheng refused to let Yun Weishan leave. He attacked her to test her martial arts and even tried to kill her. Unexpectedly, Gong Ziyu and Jin Fan arrived in time and rescued Yun Weishan from his hands. Yun Weishan was touched to learn that Gong Ziyu had waited outside the medical hall out of concern for her. She said the medicine was ready but was a bit short because Gong Yuanzheng had forced her to drink half of it. Gong Ziyu was worried and gave her his stock of 100 herbs extract to detoxify her. Yun Weishan didn't take it immediately but hid it in her sleeve. Gong Ziyu then took her hand, saying the roads were slippery in the dark and he'd lead her back to the Yu lineage. Yun Weishan felt warmth in her heart. Gong Ziyu said that because he had always feared the cold, his hands were cold too, unlike Yun Weishan's, which were warm. People say that warm hands reflect a warm heart. Yun Weishan commented that Gong Ziyu was someone who appeared cold but had a warm heart, opposite to herself. Gong Yuanzheng went to report to his brother about Yun Weishan concocting poison in the medical hall. Gong Shangjue had already suspected Yun Weishan's identity, believing she was not a true daughter of the Yun family. However, he had no evidence yet. Moreover, Gong Ziyu protected Yun Weishan wholeheartedly, so they needed to wait for the right time. Gong Ziyu took the medicine Yun Weishan prepared. After recovering slightly, Gong Ziyu returned to the back mountain to continue the trial. He was in a good mood and exposed the identity swap between young Master Xue and the Xue Zhongzi. Gong Yuanzheng went to Ming Wuji's room to look for Lady Lan's old medical records. After finding them, he encountered Jin Fan, who had come to see Ming Wuji. Jin Fan was surprised to see Gong Yuanzheng and pretended not to notice, then waited outside to intercept him. They fought, and Gong Yuanzheng was no match for Jin Fan. Jin Fan seized half of the medical record, and Gong Yuanzheng fled in a panic. Back at the Gong residence, Gong Shangjue treated his brother's wounds while discussing Jin Fan, suspecting he was no ordinary guard. Then, hearing a noise outside, they discovered Shang Wanqian, which raised Gong Shangjue's suspicions. Yun Weishan went to see Ming Wuji and asked if she had lost something. Ming Wuji immediately restrained her. From her moves, Yun Weishan deduced she was the Wufeng assassin Nameless, hidden within the Gong family. If you love the story, subscribe for the next episode.